All right, good evening, everyone. If you are coming in, let me know that you can hear us on this evening. If you can hear us on this evening, let us know. Those that are coming in the room, if you can hear us on this evening. 7 people in the room. All right. Thank you, Regina. All right, Minister Blair, he's going to be in a moment. We had to make some changes to assist my brother, but we good. So y'all give us a second. I'm going to play something for a moment. I don't know this clubhouse. They might flag me. How clubhouse do. So Facebook do. So let me play one of my tracks. All right, Regina, I'm going to test something. All right, if you all can see me, let me know if you can see me on tonight. All right, come on in. All right. All right, and here we go. Minister Blair, you there? You there? All right, Minister Blair, are you there? All right. I guess he's getting his sound together. All right. Marcella, you all can see me. I'm just waiting for him to get his interface and things together. All right, if everybody can hear me well on tonight, say we can hear you well, Pastor. Welcome to the locker room tonight with Minister Blair Troublefield. He's going to be coming in momentarily. All right. All right. All right, I need y'all to share this out. All right, everybody in the room, y'all can hear me tonight. All right, thank you all for chiming in tonight. This is the locker room with Minister Blair. All right, Blair, give me 1 second. All right, say something, Blair. You're having a connection issue there. Okay, got you. All right. All right, Blair, you there?
All right. I'm unable to hear you.
You said you can't hear me? All right, let me see. Let me try something real quick. All right, Sister Anita, can you say something real quick?
Anetta is here.
All right, can you all hear Sister Anetta tonight? You all that are watching.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Me ringing in, Pastor.
Huh?
From my other device.
Yeah, but that's what it's gonna do. It's gonna cancel that one.
Yeah, I can hear you. Okay.
Yeah. So let me do something. All right, so they can hear. All right, Blair. It's gonna cancel that one. And you got an echo in your background, Blair. Yeah. So let me do something. All right, so they can hear. All right, Blair. Blair, you got an echo.
Sir. And you got an echo in your background. Okay. I just turned my phone off.
Yeah. All right. So what we're gonna have to do, I'm gonna let you go ahead, man, and introduce, and then what we'll have to do is bring your guest in because we can only do 4 at a time. So I guess when you're ready to present, you can just say who you need to bring up.
Okay. All right. Now I can hear. That's beautiful.
All right, you can hear now? All right, Blair, can you hear me?
I can hear you fine.
Okay, all right, go ahead. It's on you. You got the screen.
All right. Well, thank you again, everyone, for joining us back. We just had a slight um, technical difficulty we just had to work through, but we are doing well. We are back. So I want you to go ahead and hit that like button and as well as hit the share button and share this broadcast out so we can get everybody back in. Again, if you're seeing the name on the page says Pastor Patrick Purcell, he's assisting me tonight with the difficulty that we were having. So, but I have shared it out so that people can jump on through my page. You can jump on through his page. But let's go ahead and share this out so that we can go ahead and get going tonight. So I want to go ahead and continue the introductions of our panelists. And so our next panelist I want to introduce uh, is this young lady. I have been just watching her from afar. And I've just seen her do some amazing things. She's a fireball, let me tell you. She is a fireball. She is powerful in the spirit. I've had the privilege of hearing her speak at different places. And what I have seen from her, she is a quality young lady, uh, wonderful, highly intelligent. And I tell you, I'm so honored that she accepted to be on with us tonight. And I didn't know if she would accept because outside of us kind of seeing each other out and saying hello, I didn't know if she would agree, but she agreed to accept this invitation, and I am so glad that she did tonight. And so I just want to introduce to everybody Miss Elizabeth Stewart. Liz, how you doing?
Hello, everybody. Hello, Mr. Blair. Mr. Blair, it's so good to be here. I'm glad that you invited me. It was very shocking to me that you invited me as well, but I'm glad that you did, and I'm just looking forward to having a great conversation on tonight.
All right, awesome, awesome. Are you using two devices? Because we got a little bit of an echo.
She might want to use headphones.
I probably can get headphones. I can get headphones if that's better.
Okay, yeah, that would kind of help, I think, a little bit
Okay,
if you
cool.
can. All right, all right. And last but not least, I've known this man for a lot of years, and we have come to really form a brotherhood. Um, he has a heart of gold. He has a heart of gold, and he really cares about people. Um, and I've watched him over the years just grow and develop. He is a great preacher. Um, I believe he's a great humanitarian as he does so many things in the community where his church is, but not just the community where his church is, but throughout the entire city of Buffalo. And he has been able to connect with so many different people, so many different backgrounds, and bring people together for common causes. And, you know, he has done things in the city that I haven't seen people do before. And it's because he really has a heart for people and he understands what it means to get outside of the four walls of the church. But what he has meant to me personally as a brother, he has encouraged me, he has poured into me, he has always supported me in anything that I've done. And for me personally, that means a lot because you don't have a lot of people who are going to support you, especially if it's not foolishness that you're doing. You're not going to be supported a lot. But he is one person that I can say without a shadow of a doubt has my back. And man to man, I respect him highly because his integrity and his character has always been the same with me. He's never gotten funny on me. He's never gotten shaky on me. And men who will be men to you, for me, I have the highest respect and admiration for men like that. And that's what I can say about this man of God. And so I just want to reintroduce to everybody, because everybody knows him everywhere. But I want to reintroduce my friend, my true brother, Pastor Andre Clark. Shep, how
I can't take it. Go ahead, do whatever you're gonna do. I can't take it.
you doing? Man, I'm just glad you're here. I thank you. I'm
I'm
just so
glad I'm
glad
here.
that
And I
you're here.
love you with everything I got.
Yes, sir. Do you now? I will say for you, do you have headphones? Because it's a little bit of an echo. Are you using two devices?
I don't have two devices, but I'm getting headphones now. Thank God somebody's at the church with me.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. All right. So, listen, we are going to go ahead and get going with this conversation. And Pastor, is there any way we can get everybody on the screen?
No, sir.
Okay. All right. So I want to go ahead and get the conversation started tonight. And again, thanks to everybody who has joined us on Facebook as well as YouTube and all the other platforms that are available out there. So we want to go ahead and get started tonight. And oh my goodness, thank Bishop Greg Davis has jumped on tonight. Bishop, thank you so much for jumping on and hanging out with us tonight. So we're talking about I am not your conversation, the benefits of men and women building together. And this topic really came to me because of just a lot of things that I was seeing in various places and in various different sectors. There were things that I was seeing that were just really troubling to me and somewhat bothered me. And I just wondered, why are we competing with each other when we're supposed to be working together? I mean, um, we see business owners competing with each other, having wars on Facebook and all other platforms. We see now there's this thing where now husbands and wives are in competition with each other, which I will never quite fully understand. And then you have pastors in competition. You have pastors and worship leaders in competition with each other. And I just began to wonder, why are we doing this when we can do so much if we can learn to work together and build together. And one of the things that I believe as I continue to listen and as I continue to watch and read and see things that are going on. For all my panelists, if you will just take a look at the messenger chat on Facebook, we just put a message in there for you. Um, as I've been seeing this, what I started to realize is that it seems as though we still carry a lot of residue of slavery. We still carry a lot of residue from a lot of the practices and mindsets that were, excuse me, forced upon us in slavery. And even though we don't have the physical chains on us, we still have the chains of that are on our minds, our mindsets, and our practices. And that's one of the things that I believe that we're seeing in a lot of the things that we see happening amongst people. So I want to begin by asking this question to our panelists. And I want everybody to weigh in. And I want to ask this question: where did this come from? Where did this really come from? Where did this really start? And so I want to go ahead. I want to start with Shep. I want Shep to come first. Then I want to go to Elizabeth, then Elder Annetta, then Pastor Patrick.
God bless you. I'm at the place now that I recognize that I don't understand the original date, time, that we've become so jealous of each other is sin. So we go biblically, we can go to Adam and Eve, not Adam and Eve, but to Cain and Abel. The second thing that we recognize is that we have to get to the place that we see that we've put an air about ourselves to make ourselves look better for other people that don't care nothing about us. So we want to show off. So we don't even know what a man is, but we're trying to compete with other men based upon cars, houses, uh, the type of woman we may have. And so we're competing with one another when there really isn't a competition, because I'm going to have whatever God has for me, and you're going to have whatever God has for you. Right now, we're seeing an insurgence of clothing lines from different people. And guess what? Somebody's going to buy your t-shirts and somebody's going to buy someone else's t-shirts. But at the end of the day, you do what you do and let everyone else do what they're going to do. And we have enough people around the world to take care of all of the t-shirts, hats, uh, gloves, or whatever else you're selling.
Go ahead, Elizabeth. It's on you.
To take care of all of the
Yes. Again, Shep, I'm right with you. I don't know where the competition started. We can't tell you where it started. I just know that it's a big thing. It's a big problem. And as men and women, we do need to come together. Um, Sometimes it comes off as like a macho thing. I gotta feel superior. I gotta feel like I got it all. I have it all. I got more than you. Instead of us just working together to prosper. But where it began, I don't know. I don't know.
Elder Netta, you there?
Yes, yes, I am here. Can you hear me?
All right. Yes, we can hear you just fine.
I think the biggest thing that I feel that happens is a lot of people don't know what their purpose is and they don't understand what their journey is. So a lot of the competition comes is because people fear the unknown. If I don't know what I do and I don't know what I'm supposed to do, then I'm going to envy what somebody else do because I'm looking at their outward success, not looking at their inner struggles that they may have went through to get to where they are. So I think a lot of times that's where people they look at the superficial things and they begin to have envy. They don't understand that the person don't went through hell and back to get to where they are. So envy and jealousy comes from the inner part of the heart. Yeah. We're echoing. I don't know if you guys know that we're echoing and that it's like I can hear my voice twice.
We only hear you once.
Oh, okay.
Blair, you're on mute.
I say you sound good.
Okay.
Everything sounds good. My brother needs sound effects. I love them. I love them. Come on, Pastor Patrick, weigh in. Come on and weigh in.
What you want me to weigh in on? I'm lost. I need some type of direction on this conversation. Where we going with this? Talk to me like I'm
So
three.
the first okay, so the first question is I asked was where did this come from?
What did what come
Where
from?
did this come from? Where did this start? This whole idea of men and women just competing with each other because it didn't just happen. It started somewhere. and it grew and developed. And so the question becomes, where did this start? Where did this come from?
I think competition comes from sinful nature. When you go back to the garden and you look at when Eve gave birth to two sons, I mean, that's the first competition right there when the two sons start fighting against one another and one kills the other one for his birthright. So I believe competition comes from sin. In the Greek, it means missing the mark. So when you don't know your purpose, you will begin to compete with other people because you don't see them as a complement, as a covenant. Think about it. The first the first murder committed in the Bible was not between two enemies, but two brothers. Why would two brothers compete against one another? Because of sinful nature. And the Lord told the brother, he said, now listen, if you do what is right, you're going to receive what is right. If you do what is wrong, then sin lieth at your door. So that's what took place. Sin was birthed. So when you think about people who compete against one another, they usually don't really honor covenant. It is always some type of jealousy, some type of envy. But I believe we all as believers, we should all remain one another's complement. We should never be one another's competition. And so that's why I'll weigh in on right there.
Anyone else want to jump in on this? Shep, what you got?
I'm sorry. I just think the people on the live can hear y'all perfectly. Um, I'm gonna get me one of these little fancy mics because I'm definitely in competition right now because I don't have one of them. I don't have one of them fancy mics. Here's the thing that most people don't grasp. I am the best version of Andre Clark there ever will be. So I don't need anyone ever to be in competition with me. And I'm not going to be in a competition with anyone else. Pastor Netta Williams, Pastor Elder, Evangelist Prophetess, she can get up and speak and minister. I'm rooting her on. So why are we not celebrating? Why are we doing all this competition? The first thing that I want to make sure that we understand is that we're a bunch of liars. A bunch of preachers get around a bunch of preachers pulling out their third leg trying to see who got the biggest one. I got this many members. I got this many members. And then when you go there on Sunday morning, there's 70 people just like me. So let's all just be honest, and this is where we are. And we can help each other instead of being in competition with each other. I'm going back on mute.
Anyone else want to jump in?
Okay,
Shep, I
I would like
agree
to say
with
something.
you.
Okay, go ahead, Miss Anita.
I agree with you, Shep, 100%. Side note, I sure was some Tim Hortons. I miss Tim Hortons. But I agree with you 100%. I think that oftentimes people, like you said, they lie. People put on such a mask and a facade. And the reality is, when you put that facade on, you attempt to live that facade until the rubber hit the road and that reality come out before that facade. And then you put out there like, hey, I'm exposed. So it's important. It behooves you to just be the most authentic you. Like Shep said, I'm the best Anetta. Messed up in my brokenness, I was the best Anetta. Okay. I can't be nobody else. Okay. I'm going to be raw. I'm going to be uncut. I'm going to say what I got to say. I'm going to mean what I got to mean. I'm a shopaholic. I'm going to do whatever I need to do to please God and please Anetta. Okay. So I think that people get caught up in the mask. People don't want to have organic conversations. They don't want to have organic relationships. They don't want to have organic, meaningful things with each other. And make sure that your connection that you're having with the person is the right connection. Our biggest thing that we fail in is we don't know how to communicate healthy. We wait and you talking to somebody and they waiting for Rebecca to have something reply back. We don't have healthy communication, and healthy communication is two-way. Somebody's listening, somebody's talking. Then it reverses. Somebody's talking, somebody's listening. You can't sit there and be waiting like as soon as they finish, I got something good to say. Because at that point, you're not listening, you're not comprehending, you're not taking it in, you're not understanding, and you're not being empathetic and sympathetic to what the person is saying. So that's how we get into this place of competition and not being able to complete each other.
That's good. That's good. Come on, Beth, you want to get in here?
Yes, I think what I'm about to say may be a little controversial. That's just a young person in me, but um, growing up, I grew up under a woman pastor, Pastor Arlene Motley Spells. God bless her. Um, and one of the things that I've always heard growing up from her being a pastor is the way that she became a pastor. She had two awesome, great husbands that, passed away. And she said, I stepped into this role because no other man would. I'm able and I'm capable. And so are some men that are able and capable, but they wouldn't. So now here she is. She done stepped into a role and prospering, helping others, doing things, churches flourishing, and all great things. And we talk about not knowing our purpose and where the competition comes from. We're, as women, we have to sometimes step into roles and step into places that we aren't supposed to be in. Well, I won't say supposed to be in, but where God has ordained certain roles. And I'm not saying anything against women pastors or women preachers because we here, but we have stepped up and stepped up into places and doing things because some people ain't doing it. And I've always been taught if you won't do, somebody else will. And like you said, I'm the best version of me. If I want to get the job done, I'm going to do it. But we also have to have that support. We also have to have that combative that place where we both complement each other to build each other. But oftentimes that's where the competition comes from because you see women doing things and then men like, oh, why you doing that? Or I could do that. No, but you can, but you're not doing it. And that's just my take on it.
Good, good. All of you have said some wonderful things. Before I move on, Pastor, did you want to jump back in, Pastor Patrick?
Um, I guess let's dialogue for a second. When we talk about, because we have people who are listening, and we want to make sure that they have some type of direction where we're going. I like what Tasha Hamilton said. Do you see her comment, Blair? She said, "Why be a cheap?"
I do not see I do not see the comments.
Okay, um, okay. She says, "Why be a cheap imitation of someone else and watering yourself down to be like someone else when the words that everything that he created was good?" When the word says everything that he created was good, people don't want to put in the work to perfect themselves. It's easier to be chased after someone else's, it's easier to chase after someone else's identity. Now, I totally agree with that because I think the Shep mentioned earlier about how we have so many designers and fashions and different things like that. And we are really a society, if we're not careful, we will tell people, Blair, give me a second, mute yourself for a second.
Yes, sir.
We will tell people
Sure.
to basically be me. And by becoming me, you become a better you, which is totally false. No one has your fingerprint. Even if people share your DNA, they still don't have all of your attributes. David's brothers, they all shared the DNA. Joseph brothers all shared the same DNA, but they did not possess the same attributes. They did not possess the same qualities. They did not possess the same potential, and neither did they have the same capacities. And so, for those that are watching tonight, and we're talking about this theme, which Minister Blair I think is wonderful. I don't know if everyone's seen it, but I want to put it up again. I'm not your competition. The benefits of men and women building together. That's the key point. The benefits of men and women building together. There are many people who say, well, I don't need a man to build. I don't need a woman to build. Well, why did God create man and woman? If you could build by yourself, then why did God create something for you? Watch this. Adam didn't even know he needed Eve, but God knew the potential of Eve was already in Adam. So let me say that again. Adam didn't know that he needed Eve. So God said, it's not good that this man should be alone, because sometimes you are operating in the first revelation of your creator, in the first revelation of your creation. But the Lord is trying to move you into the second part of the creation. And that is, watch this, when God extracts out of you in order to add to you. So those that are watching tonight, to every man and every woman, there is something that the Lord can extract from you that will become an addition. God is the only person that, watch this, that can extract from you, watch this, and not subtract from you. And so we have to see that in ministry. We have to see that as men and women building together. And I'm going to go back to this one more time, Minister Blair, then I'm going to throw it to you. The theme is the benefits of men and women working together. We can always talk about how did it happen? Where did it originate from? But we also have to talk about, for those who believe that the members of the body are fitly joined together, how do we build one another from this place? There, you always build when you understand that in building a person, it reflects what's inside of you. If you can't build someone else, then there's not much inside of you, because that is the first commandment that God gave to the creation. I want you to, watch this. I want you to replenish, subdue, multiply, have dominion. Ain't that what he said? I think I'm missing one. Shep, which one I'm missing? I think it's 5. Subdue. He talking about he don't know. Subdue, replenish, have dominion. Sister Larry Moore, help me out. I'm missing one. You and your husband can help me out. I'm missing. It's I believe it's 5. Have dominion, replenish, subdue. It's okay. Y'all will get it. It's in Genesis. But what he said was, the first thing I want you to do, I want you to grow. Everybody in the comments tonight, watching on YouTube, watching on Facebook, I want you to type grow. The Lord wants you to grow. And how do you grow? We grow like this, Minister Blair, building one another, undergirding one another. And watch this. And if you extract something from me, make sure that it's not something that's going to leave a depletion. All right, I'm going to pass it to you, Minister Blair. I'm going to give myself a hand. I think that was a good share. Thank you, Minister Patrick, for sharing with us tonight. That was very good. Thank you. You're welcome.
That was a very good share and a point you made, and it really actually walked me right into everything everyone said, plus what you closed it with, Pastor. Really walked me right into my next question, because one of the things I think that we have to consider is this whole issue of value. And you alluded to it a little bit this morning when we were talking in the room, because how you see a person matters, and what place you see them from matters, because that then speaks to value. of that person. And when you talk about the benefits of building together, then there has to be some level of seen value, that the two people have to see that there is value in what you bring to this equation and what I bring to this equation. So my next question would be, as it relates to the benefits of us building together, is it possible that we have a warped sense of value to each other? And so therefore we don't see each other the way that we should see each other, which is the way that God sees us and the way God has made us. So do we have a good understanding, or do we have a warped understanding of what value is and why? And so this time I want to start with Elder Anetta, and then I want to go to Elizabeth, and then I want to go to Pastor Patrick, and then Shep.
Woo! I was ready. I was listening though. Listen, I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna have some women who gonna be upset with me, and then I'm gonna have some men who's gonna be like, "Yay!" But I'm gonna tell the truth. So the reality of it is that we have a warped sense of state now, and Shep talks about this often. Where it comes in is as we begin to put the world into what God ordained and what God has displayed and set the foundation for us. We started, ladies, I'm a professional woman too. We started with that women live and we could do the same thing men can do. We this, we that. And we're not equal like that. I'm going to break it down for you why we're not equal. Men give life and we carry life. So we can't be equal if they give us the life to carry. So oftentimes we want to put ourselves in the same realm of men. We miss our roles and our responsibility. You got women out here that I don't need no man. And those be the same ones that say, I'm tired of being by myself. I'm tired of being alone. But wait a minute. You just said you don't need a man. Be specific about what you say. Because what happens is out your mouth, you speak. This is what happens in your atmosphere. Okay. And oftentimes we don't want to be honest with ourselves and say, women, we did an injustice to our men. We did an injustice to our men by calling them baby daddies instead of calling them the father. We did injustice to our men by taking them downtown and different court systems and stripping them of their right to speak for their child. We did an injustice to our man because he okay to lay down with, but soon as he the daddy, he's a bad daddy, he's a deadbeat. We did injustice to our men. We talk against our men. We emasculate our men. And these the same men that you sit here and say, I want to find me a good man. So we have to be honest about the roles that we play and take ownership and accountability and responsibility of the things that we have did and said. Now, men got to take responsibility for setting the foundation. If you got the foundation set, don't waver off of it. But again, you got to be able to allow the man to be the man. I don't want you to just be the man just to provide for me. That's not all that he's supposed to do for you. And oftentimes we miss the mark. We miss the mark because we allow everyone else into the marriages, the relationships, and then we sit there and wonder why. If marriage is honorable before God, why do we allow the state to determine when we don't end it? That's just my 2 cents. I'm done.
All right, all right. Come on, Miss Stewart. Come on, jump in here.
First of all, that was a mouthful. That was so good. Um, so for me, I feel the same way. Um, as when it comes to us valuing each other, women. Also, I've always been taught to, as a woman, yes, have your own, work hard, do what you gotta do. The Bible says, "He that finds a wife finds a good thing." So you gotta be that wife before he finds you. And we also, as women, like we have to be supportive to our men, praying for our men, being there for our men, upbuilding our men. But as men, you got to give me something to pray for.
What you
You got to
mean?
give me something that we got to work.
Hold on.
I
Hold
want
on, we
you.
got to be a little
I want to know
controversial.
your
What?
goals.
Yeah, no, you and your little flow here. So hold on. What you mean? Give you something
I,
to pray for? Teach us tonight, woman of God.
yeah, I need give me some. Like we need to know what our goals are, where we going, how we gonna do this, and how we gonna make it there, and what we gonna do when we get there.
Okay, so should the woman know what to pray for before the man come, and vice versa?
Should we know what to pray for? You you should have something. You should have something. You should have an idea because when y'all come together, y'all should be on the same page.
I think what
Exactly.
she's saying
No, she right.
when she said give them something to pray for, she's talking about the vision. They should, right? Is that what you're talking about?
Yes,
You should
absolutely.
be able to know the vision
Because if you're
because
gonna lead me, let me know where we going.
So you talking about the vision for you and the man, not the vision that's on his life.
Yes, the yes. If we building together, then we need to work together. We need to do this together. We need to come together and pray together. I need to know where we going.
What if he's not sure?
okay, so I'm gonna have
Got
a
it. Got it.
question. I'm gonna have a question about that because
Okay. Well,
oftentimes I see
hold
a
your
lot of
question in that a
videos.
little bit. Hold your
Okay,
question real quick because I wanna make sure Shep gets in here. Don't forget your question though.
okay,
But
okay.
I want to give Shep an opportunity to jump in here, and then Pastor Patrick, and then we'll come back to your question. So I want to make sure everybody gets their point in, and then we can come back and question it and move it. But this is going good. I like what's happening here. Go ahead, Shep.
I think that the biggest problem here is we have to get to the terminology of value. And the problem is that we devalue other people. We devalue other people to make us feel valuable. That's why we're in competition. That's why we don't like I don't like most last seven sayings from the cross. That's why I don't like platform services. That's why I don't like most musicals where you got 14 choirs on and everybody is in competition. And then after you done sang your little medley, done dance, shout, preach three sermons, now you pack up your keyboard and your cymbals and you go home because you don't even value the other people that's on after you because you have had your 15 minutes of fame and now you're gone. So to make sense of this for me is I have to look at it from a standpoint of garments. So whether you believe it or not, I used to go to the store and take off the tag from something that wasn't valuable and put it on something that was valuable so I could see if I can get it for the cheaper
You
price.
was stealing.
Unfortunately, the cashier recognized
He
what
was
that
stealing.
was and knew the value of that garment and wasn't letting me have it for the discounted price that I put on it. And just because somebody try to cheapen somebody doesn't make them lose their value. The problem is that in order for someone that don't know who they are, they're not confident in who they are. They don't understand who they are. They can't see the value in other people because you a cheap carbon of everybody else. You trying to be Todd Hall, Mike Todd. You trying to be. You trying to practice risk like somebody else when you won't be creative. I wish right now that people would tap into their creativity, that they will ask God to give me a special anointing for what you have for me. And then guess what? That I can embrace that. I love the difference. But the biggest problem is we are sitting here not knowing how valuable we are. And so I'm at the place that I just want to ask my brothers and sisters, know your value. Know your value. So when we start talking about valuing one another and building, the problem that and Sister Elizabeth went from the female and evangelist, well, minister, and elder. God bless the woman's point of view, and I agree. But see, the problem is a lot of times people don't know how valuable they are. So a woman approaches a man and says, "What do you have?" Not "What can I help you with?" Never mind. So when you look at it, you're trying to get hired. You're putting on a resume because if your best asset is behind you, you're not that valuable. So what ends up happening is it's about building. I love what Sister Minister Elizabeth said. Are we building together, or are you expecting someone that's just going to be? That's not building together. That's not building together. That's you, watch this, coming into a situation, feeding off of someone else's work. I think two people could come together and build together. And watch this, us together ought to make us even more valuable because the two shall become one.
That was good, Shep. But Shep, so you telling me you was trying to steal when you was
He's a thief,
changing the price tag?
a
You
robber.
you trying to steal? That's what you
I
telling me?
once was. Wait a second.
Watch your voice.
Once
Y'all was
what?
It sound
fornicators.
like you at seven last
Y'all was
words.
fornicators. Y'all was double dipping. Y'all was freaks.
I don't know nothing about that. I came from
Yeah,
holiness.
whatever.
Don't be trying to judge me.
I
You
came from some
thief.
holiness too.
You supposed to pay them people 10 times
Go
back.
ahead.
I didn't get it because they knew the value.
Go ahead, Pastor Patrick.
This look, I wrote down something because we were talking about value and how does a person come into the realization of their identity. I think one of the things that handicaps people from walking in their identity, people always create their identity out of their own personal needs for them. So I give you identity because I have a need. I give you identity because I have a want. When you come to church, I give you an identity. You are a musician. You are a usher. You are a praise and worship leader. And what happens with that is, I wrote this down, Minister Blair, the assignment of service versus the assignment of the servant. So you give me an identity according to how you need your service to run, but you never bring me into the identity of the servant that the Lord is calling me to be. And so I lose the potential of becoming a great servant in the kingdom because I become, watch this, a servant to your service. And so if you think about it, there are those whom the Lord used in scripture that he confronted them individually. He confronted Moses individually. He confronted Jeremiah individually. And the reason that he did that is because there are some people, Blair, that if people were able, they would put us on an instrument and tell us this is where the Lord has placed you. No, that's where you place me according to your need. And that is not my identity, that is my ability. I want you to type this, those that are listening this evening. Your ability does not define your identity. Your identity should define your abilities. And if you're not careful, people will put you in a box and they will leave you there. And going back to what the woman of God said earlier, you have to know your worth, and you have to know what it is that the Lord is calling you to do. He said, Jeremiah, now watch this. Let me paraphrase this. Your mother and father never saw this prophet in you, even though they gave birth to you. So before I formed you in the belly, I want you to catch this, Minister Blair. Your mother and father had never dreamed of having a prophet. They just wanted a son. But that son that they received, I wanted a prophet out of his life. And that's one of the identities that people struggle with, because people gave birth to you out of their desire, but they never identified that God had a need for you. I'm going to say that again, and I'm going to pass it. People can give birth to something because they desire it, but do you understand that God has a need for this individual? Hannah wanted a son, but God needed a prophet. All right, Minister Blair, I'm going to pass it to you. Hold on. The people clapping for me. Hold on. All right, go ahead. Thank you all. God bless you. Thank you.
That was good. That was good. So there's a comment that is in on Facebook that I want to read. But before I read it, Elder Netta, go ahead and ask your question, because I want to make sure I get your question in.
My sanction.
Hold on, we lost you. I think you're in the matrix.
Yeah, we got to clean you up. Mm-hmm. You're in the matrix.
She gonna call back in. Go ahead.
All right, we're gonna get Elder Netta back. So I'm gonna go ahead and read this comment that was in the comments that I thought was really, really good. And Jasmine Elder said this: I believe
that's my spiritual daughter.
That's my spirit value.
That's my spiritual daughter. I'm being ghetto tonight.
Says, I see. I believe we have a warped sense of value because we have no trust. We don't trust ourselves. We don't trust each other. We don't trust society. We don't genuinely trust in God. But once we learn to trust and genuinely trust in God, one begins to see value in themselves. Then once you trust yourself, you begin to trust others. And then it continues to trickle. And she says, I learned that from my pastor. So on this comment, I want to hear feedback on this comment. Elder Netta, are you ready to give your question? Still not ready?
Miss Anetta?
Okay.
All right, go ahead, Doc.
All right, we'll come back. We'll come back to you because I want your question. We'll come back to you. But based on that comment, Shep, I want to hear from you, Elizabeth. I want to hear from Pastor. I want to hear your feedback to that comment that she posted in the comments.
Go ahead, Shep.
Can you read the last part once again, please?
Yes, sir. The last part of her comment was, once we learn to trust and genuinely trust in God, one begins to see value in themselves. Then once you trust yourself, you begin to trust others. And then it continues to trickle down.
I'm trying to grasp the whole comment, but what I'm grabbing very quickly is that
you need me to read the whole comment again for you?
No, I don't want you to have to do that. I was trying to find it online. But here's the problem. We don't trust God. We're at the place now that we literally are trying to create ourselves. We have a God complex. We're not waiting on God. So it'll be very difficult to trust God when I can't wait on him. So if I'm not able to wait on God, then I'm trusting me first. And if I trust me first, then I run into the danger I run into the danger of um being in unshaky, unbalanced mindsets. I have to get to the place where I trust God, and the problem is we don't, because God's process don't make sense to us. Because why haven't I made it? Why haven't my church grown? Why haven't I got the album? Why haven't I become successful? Why haven't my business taken off? And so we've been trusting ourselves. I agree with this sister that we have to get to the place that we trust God, but we've done it backwards. We've trusted in our own abilities and have tried to master other people's um, specialties and then try to make it our own when that may not be the place that God wants us to be in.
That's good. Elizabeth, you got anything?
Yes. So when we don't trust God, no. Well, because like Chef said, because we're not trusting God, we're not trusting the process. Back to us building, men and women building together. That's why a lot of relationships don't work. That's why a lot of marriages don't work, because they don't trust, because we don't fully trust God. We can't get to the place of marriage because we're not trusting God. We feel like, oh, it's been X amount of years we've been together and we haven't accomplished certain things. We haven't gotten certain things. Why? Because we haven't trusted God. We have not fully trusted Him. It says, "Be not weary in well doing, for we shall reap if we faint not." Don't get weary if you're doing the right thing to one another. If you're if you're if you're building each other up, if you're supporting each other, but you're getting weary and you're feeling like you're not benefiting from it, or you're not even that you're not benefiting from it, but you feel like you're not getting everything that you desire from it, and you're not getting what you want from it. That does not mean to let go and let no, trust God's process. Trust Him fully. Wait on Him, I say. And I will give it to you. You just gotta trust me. Let me take you where you need to go. Let me take you through this the way out you need to go. Because sometimes we're not ready for what God wants to give us. Don't rush it. Sometimes we're not ready for what He has for us. So we have to go through some things. We have to go through some ups and downs to get to that place. But that's the part of building. That's the part of building. There's a whole process to building things, to building a full house. You gotta go through the process. But trust is the key thing to the process. Trust. You're not gonna get a full house if you just off the rip is just there. No, trust the process. You gotta let the electricians come in. You gotta let the painters come in. You gotta let these people come in. You gotta let those things happen. But trust it. Trust it. And then you're gonna have that house. You're gonna have that mansion. Trust it.
That's awesome. Pastor Patrick,
Yes,
you want to weigh in on that comment or you pass?
pass.
All right. Elder Netta, come on with your question.
I think Anetta, can she hear us? I think she's on mute. She came in, but then we lost her again.
Can you hear us, Elder Netta? Can you hear us at all?
It says that she is muted. No, that's Shep.
I think.
She's gone.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We'll get it back in. We'll get it back in. So everything that everyone said, including in the comments, was good. Um so the key is building. And so if anything that is going to be built, it means that there's going to be some work involved.
Right?
And some of the work you kind of know, but then there are the unexpected things that come up in the work that might be what you didn't plan for. It might be a little unexpected. And so, whether you are building in a relationship, whether you are building a ministry, whether you are building a business as partners, it would seem to me that you have to be committed and sold out to the work that it's going to take, as well as the level of sacrifice and the level of giving that will be required of you in order to see what you're trying to build come to fruition, but also for it to be built strong and solid and stable and something that will continue to produce and give fruit. So I want to ask you all, as it relates to the work, what type of commitment level do you need to have? Because the work is going to require something of you, and you have to decide if you're going to be willing to give what the work is requiring. So, what level of commitment should you really have if you're going to build something with someone, whether it is marriage, whether it is a business, whether it is ministry, whatever it may be? What's the level of commitment that you need to sign on at if this is going to work? So, Pastor Patrick, we'll start with you this time, and we'll just go in reverse to Elizabeth, and then Shep, and then Felder. That is able to get back in here. We'll get her in as well.
I believe the Bible says no man putting his hand to the plow and looking back is fit for the kingdom. I believe anytime you decide to take on a task, whether it be a ministry, whether it's professionalism, um, romantic, I think you should be committed to it. I believe commitment is something, Minister Blair, that we lack because commitment trumps convenience. It may not be convenient for you to do something, but because you are committed to an individual, you do it. And I think sometimes, even in all relationships, whether it be friends, I always love to give this example. I have friends that I can trust, Blair, to fight for me. But that same friend, I would not trust to pick you up from the airport on time. you feel what I'm saying? So there are people, and I believe, and I want to submit this to those that are listening tonight. I don't believe trust is gained. I believe trust is learned, and you have to learn a person's commitment level. Because in learning a person's commitment level, you also know what to trust them with concerning your life, your dream, your vision, all in different aspects of your life. That's what you really have to learn. And so I'll land here. For those that are listening tonight, if you're going to have people in your life that you are committed to, you have to also give them the opportunity, watch this, Minister Blair, to define, why are you committed to me? Jesus said, there's no harm in asking questions. Those that are listening tonight, Jesus said, well, who do men say that I am? Because I need to find out who in this ministry that I'm working with, what kind of commitment do they have? What kind of communication? And you can always tell people commitment level by their communication to you. And then he says, okay, well, who do you say that I am? Because sometimes you have to ask people the hard question to gain an honest truth. And so I think it's kind of hard to function with people in a commitment where there's lack of communication. There has to be a conversation, because I may consider you to be committed and you may have never committed to me. I don't know if anyone's ever experienced this, where you thought that you could depend on somebody, um, my sister, and they say, well, I never promised you that. I never said I was going to do that. I never committed myself to that. And you thought, because of your commitment to them, you were going to reap what you sowed. But you cannot reap a commitment from someone who has not made a commitment to you. That is something that you have to have a communication with. There's a comment that says, um, this is a lesson many of us in the younger generation aren't learning. Honestly, I'm just learning myself. In the younger generation, let me say this: you all have to be so careful because you have so many idols that give people identities. So you may look like their idol in junior high. You may look like their idol in high school. You may look like their idol in college. But then when life hears, you say, I got to move into my identity when they are still embracing their idols. See, what happens is people usually conflict with you, Minister Blair, when you stop embracing their idols and you start embracing your identity. Then it becomes a problem. And so we have to be careful with that. So for those tonight, I would encourage you. See, what happens is people usually conflict with you, Minister Blair. What I'm going to say is for those that are in relationships, in ministry relationships, any type of relationship, if you're going to have a committed relationship, you are going to have to find out where you can what you can trust this individual with, and you also have to learn, are they committed to idols or are they committed to this covenant? I could go further, but I'll land there.
Right. That was good. That was good. Come on, Elizabeth.
Yeah, so when it comes to being fully committed, the first thing that I think of is, are we fully committed to God? People say that they're often committed to Him, and they're not. Like we said, we don't fully trust Him. We absolutely have to make that firm decision and make it known. Are we fully committed to God? The Bible says He don't want nothing lukewarm. Either you for Him or you against Him. So when it comes to my commitment, you're a rider, either you my ride or die, or you not. Are you truly there for me or you're not? When I'm committed to something, I gotta be all the way in, or it won't be successful. It will fail if you're not. You're gonna make time for what you want. We all make time for what we want. If it's important to you enough, you will make time for it. If you want it enough, you will make the time for it. Like you said, there's a difference between commitment and convenience. Is it convenient for you to want this business, want this relationship, or are you committed to it? How successful do you want to be in this? Where do you really want it to go? That's where your commitment comes in. You got to give it 100% if you really want to see it flourish. And so our commitment to God often is a reflection on our commitments in general in life. If we fully trusted God and was fully committed to God and fully gave Him our all, then how great will we be? Some often things are not where we expect them to be because we're not fully committed. And we have to go in head first, all the way in. The song says, but whatever it takes, I'm all in. It sounds good, but are you truly all in? I always tell my son, by any means necessary, be successful. By any means necessary, do what you have to do. So that means your commitment have to be on 100% at all times.
Man, that's good. Chef.
Please forgive me. Um, here's the key to this. In my eyes, there's a lot of people want to be a
Go ahead, Blair. You lost them.
Yep. Elder Netta.
not to call me back.
There he is. He's back. He's back.
I want to be a follower of Christ. Watch what ends up happening. And I don't think that people recognize this. When people want to be a follower, when people want to be a follower of Jesus Christ, Jesus said, "Foxes have holes, birds have nests. The Son of Man ain't got nowhere to lay his head." You still want to?
Do not disturb is a ministry.
Uh oh. Yeah. Put on your do
I
not
think what he's
disturb,
trying to
Shep.
say is nobody told him how hard it was going to be to be fully committed. Nobody told them what it was going to take to be fully committed, and I think that's where people get weary at. They don't understand. Nobody ever tells us what is it. The road will be easy. Nobody told me that this road would be easy, and they never told us how tough it was going to be either.
But I
And
don't
that's why people
believe.
are not fully committed.
That's right. Elder Netta, come on, get in here.
Elder Anetta?
She,
I
are you
guess the
unmuted?
biggest thing is,
There you
what
go.
do commitment look like? A lot of people don't even know what commitment looks like. Okay. They think commitment is being loyal to the pastor, but they disloyal to God. Okay. So you got to ask yourself a question. What does it look like? In my profession, a lot of people come in and they come in with their post traumas. They come in with their situation. They come in being molested. They come in with broken marriages. And the first thing I ask them is, what do they always say? I just don't want to be broken no more. Well, what do whole look like? Because you got to know what you're aiming for. You already know you broken, but do you know what whole looks like so you can be able to reach whole? Because if you don't know what it looks like, then you don't even know what you're aiming for. I love green apples, but if they don't got green apples, I got to get red apples. But my pursuit in going to the store is to get green apples. So you got to know what you're aiming for. You got to know what you're going for. And oftentimes people do not know what it looks like to be committed. I went to a church for over 20 something years. Blair, no. Awesome pastor, my spiritual father. But I was committed to the man and not God. So everything I did, I wanted to sing the right note. I wanted to make sure the choir was tight. I wanted to make sure I was the good dutiful deacon's wife and all of that. But guess what happened? When my marriage shattered, it showed me where my faith was. My faith was in the man and not God. So oftentimes we put our loyalty in the wrong thing. And that's what we do with relationships. We do the same thing when we engage with the opposite sex. We start putting everything into that person and then we lose our identity.
That's good. So let me ask this, because as you all were talking, you were saying that you're asking, what does commitment look like? What does wholeness look like? So if you've never maybe really been committed to anything, then the honest question is, do you really know what commitment looks like? Can you even articulate it? If all you've known is being broken, do you even have a concept of wholeness and what that is? So how do you go? So how do you really go from having no idea what commitment looks like because you've never been committed to anything, or maybe you've never experienced anyone being committed to you? And if your life has been just a broken life, even from maybe when you were a child, from it's just always been broken this, broken that, chaos here, chaos there. So how do you even get a picture of what wholeness looks like? How do you even get a picture of what commitment even looks like, if that happens to be your particular state or place that you've been in? So we're gonna go with Pastor Patrick, and then we could just Anetta and Beth chime in. So let's explore this for a moment.
So we're exploring if you've never had commitment or been in a commitment.
If you've never been committed to anything, or you've never had anyone be ever really committed to you, how do you really know what commitment looks like?
You don't.
Verse in the same breath, right? So how do you get from that place of not knowing what commitment looks like, maybe never having had anyone committed to you, to getting to a place where you can commit?
Well, maybe another way that I would say it is maybe you've been committed and you didn't know you were being committed, because everyone is committed to something. Um, Everyone makes sure that they eat. People make sure that the things that they desire for themselves, they go after them. So I believe everyone is committed to something, even if they don't know they're committed to it. There's some people that are committed to chaos and don't even know it until you say, let me show you this right here. And they're like, wow, I never saw that, because you've been committed to it for so long. Commitment. What is the fruit of commitment? Comfortability, conformity. And there are people who can commit to someone, commit to a thing, and they become comfortable in it. And also they conform to it. And so you start trying to say, well, that's not really productive. What you are telling them is that their commitment is not productive, which has become a custom and a lifestyle to them. So I believe everyone's watching tonight. Everyone is committed to something, but do you acknowledge that you are committed to it? Let's be honest. Everyone on here that's ever wanted to lose weight, chime in. Now, people purchase gym memberships, they buy outfits, and they are committed to the idea of the workout, but they're not committed to the process. I'm gonna borrow that from my sister down here. She said that earlier. So you got to commit to the process. So people go get ain't nobody talking to me on here. Let me see if anybody gonna chime in on here and tell the truth. It's the truth. Yeah, let me look in the comments. Let me see. All right, here we go. Folks buy new sneakers. They buy all of these outfits, and they're committed, Tasha. Preacher girl. They're committed to this workout. But really, sister therapist at the bottom, Sister Anetta, they are committed to the idea, because when it's time to go to the gym, they find something else that they are more committed to. And what are they more committed to? Not working out. Come on, everybody, say amen. It's the truth, Blair. It's the truth. And so when you're talking about commitment, everyone is committed to something. We just have an idea that we want to be committed to something else. I can't hear nobody here. I'm going to say it again because I'm about to turn the corner. Everybody says they want to be committed to something or someone, but the truth of the matter is they are committed to something else or some. It's the truth. It's the truth. That's why people mess up, because they express to you, Blair, this is my commitment towards you, but you have not dealt with that you are committed to something or someone else. And that's where the chaos comes in. So I think everyone here tonight, I think we all committed to something. I mean, I'm sitting here struggling because I'm hungry. And there's some cookies over here I want to eat. But this is keeping me from those cookies because my commitment is here right now. You see that? See, them cookies gonna lose as long as we all here, because I'm committed to you, Blair. But when we finish, I can't hear nobody. So everybody listen tonight, I just want to tell you, sometimes being committed to an assignment, watch this, it keeps you from keeping your commitment to your appetite and your attack. See, y'all didn't know I was gonna flip that. You like that, Blair? See, sometimes when you committed to your kingdom assignment, it keeps you, watch this, from the fruit, and it keeps you from your appetite and your attack. That's why when we was growing up, people kept us in church, because they kept us from our appetite and our attack. So they kept us in the church. Y'all not hear me. But then when we got out of the church and we got our driver's license, we started missing prayer meeting. We started missing Bible study, because guess what? As long as they could keep us in the assignment of the Lord, it kept us from our appetite and our attack. Then some of us came back to church with driver's license and dragging luggage. All right, Blair, I'm finished.
That's good. That's good.
How much longer are we going to be? Because I want to eat my cookies. How much longer are we going to be?
Well, are you supposed to have them cookies?
I'm grown. Now, if you want a cookie, just say you want a cookie, Blair. I give you a cookie. But we try to call me out on here.
Come on, Elizabeth, get in here.
Okay, I thought my sister was going first.
Wait,
Okay.
didn't she go? Didn't you go after another? You started.
Yes, she did.
Okay. So
Oh,
we were saying, ask the question again.
Lord, wait a minute.
so
Hold up, Blair.
the
Wait
question
a
was,
minute, Blair. What is she over there watching that she missed her whole share? You watching the Cosby Show or something?
Me?
She did a wonderful. You missed her whole share?
No, I heard everything.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did. I did.
he just messing
What's
with
the
you. He just
cookies?
messing with you. That's all.
You
He
heard the
just messing
cookies?
with you.
She said cookies, right?
Yeah, I heard.
Okay. Well, you good then. Long as you heard the cookies. That's what the Lord's saying tonight. Cookies.
No, because I typed something down. You said, "How do we get commitment?" Right?
Yeah, if I started out by asking if you've never been
She ain't
committed,
say
Yes.
nothing about no
then
cookies.
how do you know what then how do you know what commitment looks like? In the same breath, if you've always lived in a broken life, do you really know what wholeness looks like? And then of course Pastor Patrick said that
Yes.
all of us have been committed. We may not have really known we were committed, but all of us have been committed.
Right. So the two things that came to my mind when you shared that and asked that was write the vision and make it plain. If you don't know what commitment looks like, it's nothing wrong with writing it down. Write down what you want. Write down what you desire. What does it look like? I want a whole family. Exactly. Write it down and make it plain exactly how that looks. I want to have family reunions. I want to have love in my family. I want to have peace in my family. And this is what I'm going to do to get it. And the second thing was creating me a clean heart and renewing me the right spirit. I can't get that vision if I don't go to it with the right spirit. I can't go to drama with drama. I can't pursue it if I don't have the right spirit. So we have to come to ourselves, cleanse ourselves, ask God for that to help us with that forgiveness for within ourselves and with others so that we can go on with our commitment and how to build that. So we write it down and then come come to yourself with the right spirit. Approach it with the right spirit.
That's good. And I think tonight, um, just the way that tonight has unfolded, I think this right here has been a great picture of commitment because tonight we have battled through tech difficulties. We have battled through
Whoo.
connection issues, all that stuff. And we got kicked out, came back in, got kicked out, came back in because we were committed to this session because we believed in it and we believed in the people who were putting it on. And sometimes commitment is going to test whether you really mean it by throwing curveballs, by throwing stuff at you that you didn't see coming, by throwing stuff at you that you don't anticipate. And I can speak as a husband that there's no way that me and my wife could have built a marriage 21 years if we were not sold out to the work and sold out to each other and taking on the assignment of being a husband and taking on the assignment of being a wife and understanding that if we can just hold on, if we can continue to invest in each other, if we can continue to fight together and to pull in the same direction, that regardless of what gets thrown at us, that regardless of how many times we go for something, we get kicked out, regardless of how many times struggle may arise, if we're committed that we going to see this thing through,
Blair,
then we can build something great. Go ahead, Pastor.
watch this. Natasha Nobles wrote is 2 comments that I think we don't want to overlook these. And I want the woman of God to respond to this. I think Sister Anetta. Tasha says, I have not always experienced commitment. However, the experience gives me the tools to give it. I give what I want to experience. That Blair, we gotta take a moment on that. Yeah,
That's good. That's good.
I'm gonna yield the mic to the woman of God at the bottom of the right corner, Sister Anetta.
Go ahead, Annette. It's on you.
I'm gonna yield the mic to the woman of God at the bottom of the
What she's stating is powerful, because oftentimes you hear what you do is what you get. And oftentimes that's not true. I believe what you learned and what the obstacles you went through, it'll teach you to do better. So that's what I'm receiving from her. Even though I don't like what I went through taught me a lesson that I don't want to repeat again. Okay. So I may not like the way, and then I think about this. Hannah and Peniah had a commitment. Peniah commitment was to torture Hannah. Hannah's commitment was to stay persistent about the posture she had in prayer. Okay. So there was a good commitment and there was a bad commitment. We got to recognize what's good and what's bad for us. And oftentimes in relationship, engaging with the opposite sex or whatever, we sometimes don't recognize all the red flags that are showing you that this is not good for you, because sometimes we have the spirit of settlement. And so you begin to settle with situations and settle with things.
Wait a minute.
And so then Hannah didn't settle with the fact of not having a child. She stayed persistent in prayer. And then she began to get ridiculous and radical with her prayer, because she knew that her commitment was going to get her to her promise. Sometimes we don't want to connect and get radical with the promises and the thoughts that God had of us. And we get slipped up and tripped up by just something that looked glossy and good. God is saying, listen, if you're going to have a commitment, have a good commitment and stay persistent and in the right posture for the commitment.
Come on, Evangelist
Lord,
Stewart.
that's good.
What you got? That was good. Yeah, it was. Come on, Evangelist.
I don't think nobody needs to say nothing after that.
What I liked about what you said was we take on the spirit of settle.
That was good.
Because that jumped out to me. We take on the spirit of settle.
She got to do a part 2 to that, Blair.
And settle, yeah. And settle is not good. So I want you, because Pastor took the words right out of my mouth too. I want you to talk about that spirit of settle.
Part 2, Blair.
Part 2. Because I want you to go into that a little bit, because you snuck it in there, but I heard it. So I want you to go into that spirit of settle. I want to hear about that.
When I talk about the spirit of settlement, I'm transparent. When I moved here to Texas, I didn't know anybody. I had no social life or anything like that. So I began to engage with this man that I met. And because of my loneliness and not being connected to everything that I was connected to, I began to settle with the fact that I was connected to him. And so I didn't even pay attention to all of the red flags that was showing me he is not a part of your destiny. He is not a part of your journey. Matter of fact, when I prayed and was like, because my prayer always been to God, make sure that whoever I'm connecting to, that I can be a part of their purpose and they can be a part of my purpose. I didn't even pray that prayer for him. So that right there was a red flag that I didn't even do my normal posture with God and the connection. So what happened was I began to settle with the fact that I had a connection with somebody here, even though that connection was a bad connection. That internet, that Wi-Fi was breaking. It was Wi-Fi. It wasn't Wi-Fi. It was Wi-Fi off of whatever he was given. And he was feeding me emotional stuff that I was into at that time. So I was spiritually declining because I was physically in tune to him. So I began to settle for what God did not tell me was for me. So it was a reality check when the finances started looking crazy and then the spirit in my house started changing. I was like, whoa, what is going on? So then it made me go back, revert to what is different in your house versus what was here before. Oh, it's that man. I settled. That spirit of settlement came just because I got comfortable in my flesh of what was there. And God said, I didn't set that up for you. And oftentimes we get comfortable with stuff and we get into the spirit of desperation. I'm alone. I don't want to be by myself. I'm divorced. I'm already damaged good. I'm broken. I've been through this. I've been molested. I've been through this. I'm just going to settle with whatever because I don't have the thought process to understand what my worth and value is and know that God has created me to be fearfully and wonderful. And not only that, God see me as the man that he has divinely made me, because guess what? I settled because I didn't see the purpose and the value of me.
That's good. That's good. I like that. Anyone else want to weigh in before we move on?
No, I'm just playing Sister Anita a song. Since she said she got caught up in the physical, I just felt like she just needed a little Shirley tonight. So I just wanted you to heal. I just I'm sorry. I just felt it. I just
No,
felt
you
it.
good. You good. You good. That's why I love you. You my brother for real. That's why I love you, because it just felt like she needed something.
Yeah, she's
Boom, there it
just
is.
just felt like she just needed a
But
I don't
listen, all of that is good, what you said, because the truth is, all of us, or a lot of us, I'll say it that way, a lot of us have settled for so much and have settled in so many places in our lives that we should not have been in and should not have settled in. A lot of us have settled in doing business with people that are not integral. Some of us have settled in connecting to people who have had bad character. But because of whatever was going on with us at that moment, or because of whatever place we may have been in, we may have felt that maybe there was no one else, maybe there wasn't another option. And so we just went ahead and took the option that was in front of us, instead of waiting for the option that is for us, waiting for God to send us the option that is for us. And so we've been on for a while tonight, and this has been a great conversation. And thank you to everyone who's been chiming in the comments. And because the comments are live tonight, that tells me that you are enjoying what you've been hearing, and and hopefully you're getting something from this conversation. And so I want to hurry and go to our close tonight. And so I want to ask this: where do we go from here? Where do we move? Where do we move from here? Because what we have established, I believe, tonight is that we can do more, be more, and produce more when we actually work together, when we build together, and understand that the both of us are needed, that we both are valuable, that we both bring something to the equation that will help the both of us. We individually bring something that will help us to build something that is not only great, not only something that is strong, and build something that's beautiful, but ultimately we build something that bring glory to God's name. Because at the end of the day, if we're not bringing glory to God's name, what are we really doing? So, how do we move from this place of needing to compete and needing to prove points that we're better or greater or bigger and all the stuff that comes with competition? How do we move from here so we can get to the place where we build in unity, we build in peace, we build in purpose, ultimately that God receives glory from what we do? And so I'm going to start with Elizabeth. I'm going to go to Elder Annetta, and then we'll close with Pastor Patrick.
Amen. So, one, knowing our purpose in life, finding our purpose and knowing our purpose in life. Two, trust in the process. And three, just making sure that God gets the glory at the end of the day. We are all better together. Amen.
All right. Thank you, Elder Annetta. Come on.
How do we build together? We build together. One is, and I know people hate hearing me say this, but identifying what your role is. Women, let the men lead. The biggest problem is we want to step ahead. We don't want to be good listeners. Allow them to lead. God put them here for that purpose. Women, be helpmeets. Meet the needs of your husband. Husbands, love your wives like Christ loved the church. Submit. That's how we change all of this chaos that's going on. What has happened is we allowed the world to deplete what the foundational piece of a relationship and a marriage and a family is. And what the world did was they diluted it with toxicity of the government system instead of the biblical law. So oftentimes we sit there and wonder, why is this happening? Because we allowed ourselves to get out of roles and get out of positions. A lot of people, I love it. I love a professional. You know what I don't like more than anything? When I see on Facebook, oh, this is a power couple. So in my head, I'm saying, what power moves are they making? So the first thing people say is finances. That's not a power move because you got money. That ain't power moves. Because you can have all the money in the world, but your house is not a home. So what makes you a power couple? Okay? You can have all the money in the world and your kids don't never see you kiss their mama and hug their daddy. What makes you a power couple? I need to identify to me what a power couple is. Because a power couple to me is somebody who is spiritually aligned, financially connected, and emotionally in tune with each other. That's a power couple for me. Okay? So oftentimes we don't know, we get into this facade and we get into all of this social media and we portray a good life, but nobody's really happy. Like he said, people aren't genuine as they think and say they are. Okay. So how do we get to that place of building together? Realize that you need each other. I need you. You need me. We all a part of God's body. Stand with me. Agree with me. We're all a part of God's body. Okay. That's how we build together. Knowing that there is a need. We are the weaker vessel, so we need you. We was pulled from your ribs, so we need you. Okay. We was pulled from the vital places that your vital organs are. So we need you. Okay. We couldn't do this without you. I could not have my 4 kids without Anthony Williams. Thank God for him. Divorced and all, but I thank God for him because he gave me life to carry. So we do need you. Women, we got to do better. We have to do better. We have to encourage our men. And I'm not saying this because women don't need encouragement. We do need encouragement. But oftentimes we got to realize, why did the structure of our family, why is it destroyed? Because we allowed it to happen like this. When we begin the process of talking our men out the houses, we talked them out the houses and the government took them. That's all I got to say.
Pastor Patrick, before you give your close, I want you to talk to the men, because Annetta, she just addressed the ladies, and said some really good stuff. But in your closing, I want you to go ahead and talk to the men.
Now,
Yes, sir.
oh, okay. Um, I would just say to the men in the room, since the topic is "I'm not your competition," is remember the story of Cain and Abel. Um, it shouldn't be easy for you to harm your reflection, but we still haven't stopped black on black crime. Um, and so we really can't complain about someone doing something to us that we are doing to our own reflection. And so to the brothers that are watching tonight, I would say always embrace the opportunity to help build someone, because in building someone, you are actually causing them not to become bound by someone else. You will never know what how it can change a man's life just by giving him a ride in a car to get something to eat, because you could have kept him from someone who was going to rob a place, to go get into something that could cost him his life, cost him years of his life. So the Bible says, Proverbs 17:17, for a friend loveth at all times, but a brother is born for adversity. Sometimes you're not going to know who your brother is, and you're not going to understand their purpose until adversity hits your life. But adversity to the believer is a time of advancement, because it reveals to the recipient of that brotherhood and friendship that God loves you enough to send me. And so, for the brothers on tonight that are watching, and to the sisters, you are a blessing because God has sent you. And I will land here, Minister Blair. To everyone that's listening tonight, I would tell you to see God in everything and in everyone. If you live your life from that place, that every person you meet, you are trying to see God in them and see God in everything, it will probably be very hard for you to hate your neighbor and to tear down someone else. And so I will land there. As I always say, Minister Blair, I live to love you and I fight for you daily. See God in everything and in everyone.
That was awesome. Listen, this was a great conversation tonight. And we have heard from these wonderful, awesome panelists, and to even Pastor Andre Clark Shep, who just through difficulty wasn't able to get back in. But we thank God for his tonight, sharing his perspective. And I would hope that everyone who has been watching and listening tonight walked away with a different perspective on building with each other. And more importantly, I hope that you have been motivated and compelled tonight, that if there is a change that you need to make in your mindset, if there's a change in your vision, if there is a change in the intention of your heart and how you see people, I hope that you were compelled tonight to make those changes and make those adjustments, because the better that we can become individually, the better I believe we can become for and with each other. Because as has been stated, we cannot do this alone. We cannot do this alone. Um, Even God needs someone to partner with if he's going to do something in the earth. So even God understands doing things together and doing things in unity. And he understands value, because all of us have had different things happen in our lives, and all of us Some of us have been considered dirty. Some of us have been considered only worthy for the gutter. But God saw value in you. God saw something in all of us. And really, what he saw was himself, because he put himself in us. That he picked us up, cleaned us off, cleaned us out. And then he gave us oil, he gave us purpose. And now he says, okay, let's go and do some things. So I hope that you have received from tonight, those who've been on. And I hope and pray, as I said, that you've been inspired and compelled to do something different, to think something different, to see something and see others differently as you continue along your journey and path. To everyone who's been on Facebook and YouTube, I thank you for joining in tonight. Thank you for hanging out with us. Um, as again, we did have some tech difficulties, and we indeed apologize for that. But we thank you for still hanging with us. We thank you for continuing to support this platform. It means the world to me. A lot of you have been hanging with me since I started this back in 2020. And when I first started, I didn't think I'd go this long. I didn't really think I had it in me to do this. I didn't think I had the right voice. I didn't think I had the ability. I didn't believe I had the skill. But God said, no, you're going to do this because I'm going to work through you. And 3 years later, we're still here and still learning and still growing. And you all have been learning and growing with me. And so I want you to know from the bottom of my heart, I love and appreciate you getting on every month. It keeps me motivated and it keeps me encouraged to continue to go on. And some of you message me and you send me text messages, and when you see me, you tell me, man, I enjoy what you're doing. Thank God for you having those conversations, man. They're helping me. And so I appreciate that, because it just reminds me that I really did hear God's voice when he gave me this, because it's having the type of impact that it's having. And so with that, we're going to say good night. Thank you for being on the locker room. We love you. We appreciate you. For my panelists, please don't go anywhere just yet. I want to just briefly speak with you really, really quickly, but we're going to end the Facebook and YouTube live. So thank you all. We love you. We appreciate you. And we'll see you next month on the locker room.